Do you ever struggle with making tough moral choices and wish that you had a clear guide to help you navigate life's most challenging decisions? Well, I have some good news for you. The ancient wisdom of Freemasonry holds the key to developing an inner compass that can guide you through any ethical dilemma. So we are going to explore 5 powerful Masonic practices that can help you cut through the confusion, overcome doubt, and avoid making the wrong decision. So you can say goodbye to the guilt and regret that come from making the wrong call.
The comments, opinions, and views shared during this program are of those individual Freemasons and do not reflect the official position of a Grand Lodge, concordant body, appendant body, Masonic Authority, or craftsmanonline.com.
Welcome to the Daily Masonic Progress Podcast with your host, Right Worshipful Brother Darren Allett.
In our everyday lives, we face all sorts of moral challenges, from personal conflicts to tricky situations at work. And these choices that we make really shape who we are and the impact we have on the world. But in a complex and fast-paced society, it's not always easy to know what the right thing to do is. We might feel pulled in different directions, pressured by what others expect of us, or get thrown off by our own emotions and biases. It's like being asked to make a big important decision in the middle of the night when you're half asleep. It's not exactly the ideal condition for clear thinking. So, how can we find our way through this maze of moral questions, and how can we be sure that our actions line up with our deepest values, even when the tough gets going? Well, the answer comes from the timeless teachings of Freemasonry, summed up in the powerful idea of the term cannot materially err. And what this means is that by truly living according to Masonic principles, you can develop a reliable inner guide to keep you on the right and prevent you from making any major ethical mistakes. Sure, you still might make small missteps here and there. Nobody's perfect, and we are all human. But overall, you'll be walking along a path of integrity. The deeper message here is that it is possible, by really committing to a solid moral code like the one Freemasonry offers, to live a highly principled life, knowing that this is empowering and it means that an ethical life is within your reach, so as long as you stick to the right blueprint. But understanding this idea is one thing. Putting it into practice is absolutely another. And when you're in the middle of a real-life moral dilemma, it's easy to feel lost, overwhelmed, and tempted to compromise on our values. And that's where these 5 Masonic practices come to the rescue. They're like your Swiss Army knife for everyday integrity, and practical tools that can help you live out the principle cannot materially err in your daily choices. The first key is to develop greater self-awareness through the Masonic practice of introspection. In the chaos of our daily lives and responsibilities and our ever-growing to-do lists, we often go on autopilot and lose touch with really what matters to us deep down. And if we don't make time to regularly reflect, we risk making reactive, fear-based, or misaligned decisions. The solution, then, is to set aside time every day to look within, and whether that's through journaling, meditation, or even quiet contemplation. Create a space to honestly examine your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Ask questions of yourself, like, am I being true to my core values? Where might I be compromising on my integrity because of fear or outside pressure? And what subconscious patterns or beliefs are holding me back from pursuing the highest path? Then, as you shine a light on your inner world, you can gain clarity on your authentic priorities and your values, and you'll start to recognize habits of thinking or behaving that might be sabotaging your goals. And then when you tap into the deep inner resources and wisdom and strength, you can then realign to your truest self. But the more you practice this kind of self-awareness, the stronger your internal compass becomes. The second practice is to harness the power of the Masonic Ritual and the symbolism that is within it to instill the deep ethical principles into your subconscious mind. The symbols of Freemasonry, like the square and the compass, to the all-seeing eye, are all rich with meaning, and they're potent tools for absorbing timeless values and truths. By actively participating in our rituals like our lodge meetings and our ceremonies, you immerse yourself in all of the moral lessons of the craft. And the vivid symbols and the stories experienced repeatedly work on you at a soul level. You then start to see the world through the lens of our Masonic ideals like integrity, justice, wisdom, and compassion. So then, little by little, these virtues become part of who you are, influencing your thoughts, impulses, and therefore your actions, often without you even realizing it. And it's like these rituals and symbols are gradually installing the highest moral software into your subconscious operating system. Then, when you face these ethical crossroads, you naturally feel drawn to do the right thing. The ritual has worked to then build an intuitive moral guidance system within you. But of course, we don't walk this moral path alone, which brings us to the next practice, and that is seeking wisdom from mentors and role models. You see, making tough choices with high stakes can feel isolating and scary, especially when the right thing isn't necessarily popular or an easy thing. Without encouragement and advice, we might start to second guess ourselves or even be tempted to cut ethical corners. So that's when we need to turn to our fellow brethren and the ones who embody these Masonic principles in their daily lives. And we can seek out their strength of character that we admire and respect and share openly with them about the challenges that we're wrestling with and listen humbly to their experiences and insights. We can let their example motivate us to be the most upright version of ourselves. We can also look for these moral heroes outside of Freemasonry. We can read about the aspiring leaders and visionaries known for their unflinching integrity. We can reflect on their words and actions and let the courage that they took fuel our own. But also, knowing that as a Freemason, you're part of a long line of men and a global community of people dedicated to doing good, even when it's hard. And this should give you the strength to persevere. Then, as you build your moral muscles through the ritual, the self-reflection, mentorship, the next step is to then apply that wisdom to navigate these ethical grey areas. You see, when a situation seems hazy and unclear, the Masonic tool of the square serves as a clarifying lens and a litmus test. Hold up your potential choices to the square of virtue, truth, and justice, and ask yourself, is this course of action completely honest? Is it fair and right for everyone involved? And does it match the moral principles and duties that you as a Mason have committed to? Then, by measuring your actions against this high standard, it reveals a true ethical path that cuts through any of the excuses or distractions. You get to the core of the matter and you can see a way forward, which by doing so and doing this consistently, you can contribute to building a society of greater trust, fairness, and good. But knowing the right thing and actually doing it are two different things. And sure, we all face temptations to compromise or take the easy way out. And even when we know better, you see, real integrity means being willing to act ethically, even when you have to pay a price. You then build this courage like a muscle, choice by choice, day by day. Each time you tell the difficult truth, you follow through on an inconvenient promise or stand up for fairness, you reinforce your integrity. Choosing the higher road becomes your ingrained default mode, even when under pressure, and you learn to trust your moral core. Growing in courage also means owning it with humility when you fall short, as we all inevitably do. Having the guts to admit fault, clean up any mess, and recommit to your values is a sign of true strength and a sign of real integrity. It's what helps you keep getting better. So then as you flex your ethical muscles more reliably, you become a moral leader in your own circles and you positively influence others through your own example. When guided by your inner compass, you can then shine a light for others so they can find their bearings. So while the Masonic principle of cannot materially err may seem lofty, it is a worthy star to navigate by. And by devotedly practicing these 5 keys, self-examination, living the ritual, relying on our community, using the square to clarify, and choosing courage over comfort, you can navigate life's stormiest seas and develop the clarity and the backbone to make the hard but right choices and to walk your talk. Not perfectly at all, but more faithfully all the time. And that's what our world needs more of than anything else. People willing to lead from integrity and call others to the highest values.
This has been the Daily Masonic Progress Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow us on Spotify or subscribe on Apple Podcasts. The Daily Masonic Progress Podcast is available on all streaming platforms with new episodes every week.